In 1988, the Pentagon unveiled the B-2 stealth bomber. With its flying wing design, radar-absorbent materials, and internal weapons carriage, it was the most advanced long-range strategic bomber ever built. The Air Force wanted 132 of them. Congress approved the funding. Production was set to begin. Factories were being built and supply chains were forming. The most expensive military aircraft program in history was launching. Then the Soviet Union collapsed, and the Pentagon faced a problem that would define American air power for the next 30 years. How do you justify the most expensive military aircraft in history when the enemy that justifies it no longer exists? The Pentagon chose a compromise between canceling the program entirely and building the full fleet, a decision that created a masterpiece of engineering but a financial catastrophe. America was left with a fractional stealth fleet so small and so expensive that it fundamentally altered how the military projects global power. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why the Pentagon stopped building America's greatest bomber. We will examine the original strategic requirement, the timeline disaster that broke the acquisition model, the mathematics behind its staggering $2.1 billion unit cost, the fragile reality of operating an inventory of only 19 aircraft, and the grueling maintenance burdens that make it unsustainable. This is the story of how geopolitical shifts and budget constraints grounded a revolutionary program mid-flight. To understand why the B-2 stopped production, you have to understand what it was designed to stop. The 1970s marked a revolution in Soviet air defense. The Soviet Union had developed a highly sophisticated, deeply layered integrated air defense system. They deployed multiple radar frequencies, overlapping airborne early warning coverage, and surface-to-air missile batteries that could easily intercept heavily flying heavy bombers. For 2 decades, the B-52 Stratos Fortress had dominated the skies by flying high and fast, but altitude and speed were no longer sufficient against this new Soviet network. The Air Force desperately needed a platform capable of penetrating deeply into heavily defended hostile airspace without being detected. Previous attempts focused on flying low and fast to hide in ground clutter, but the Soviets quickly adapted by developing look-down, shoot-down Doppler radars. The Pentagon realized they needed a radical new doctrine. Stop trying to outfly the defenses and instead become invisible to the radar network entirely. The strategic calculation was precise. The Air Force determined that 132 invisible bombers could reliably penetrate Soviet airspace, eliminate heavily fortified command centers, and ensure a credible nuclear deterrent, even if intercontinental ballistic missiles were compromised. In 1981, Northrop Grumman won the contract, and the Pentagon authorized $22 billion to build this fleet. At an estimated $167 million per unit, it was a massive investment, but the existential threat of the Cold War absolutely justified the mission. Detailed design commenced in 1982, with full-scale production slated to begin in 1993. But history moved faster than the Pentagon's acquisition timelines. This is where the B-2 story becomes a tragedy of timing. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. By 1991, the Soviet Union officially dissolved. In the span of just 2 years, the entire foundational purpose of the program simply vanished. The integrated air defense system this bomber was meant to penetrate was suddenly irrelevant, and the massive military apparatus it was meant to deter was in a state of total collapse. But the Pentagon was already fully committed. First flight testing was scheduled in 1989. Factories had already been built, specialized tooling was installed, and massive, highly classified supply chains were locked in place. The Department of Defense was cornered. They had to either commit to producing a fleet designed for a phantom adversary or cancel the program entirely and write off $42 billion in sunken development costs. Because development had progressed so far, the industrial base was already mobilized and political capital had been spent, the Pentagon chose to push forward, but with drastic reductions to the final order. Here is the cruelest irony of the entire program. The aircraft was first flown in 1989, the exact same year the Cold War effectively ended. The Pentagon successfully unveiled the greatest technological masterpiece in military aviation history at the precise moment the mission it was designed for became obsolete. And this is where Pentagon math creates the most expensive aircraft ever built. In 1992, the administration slashed the procurement order. The original requirement of 132 airframes was cut to 75, then ultimately reduced to just 20 operational aircraft plus one test airframe. But here is the critical failure in that equation. The $42 billion in research, engineering, testing, and facility development had already been spent. That financial burden did not disappear when the production numbers were cut. Under the original plan, $22 billion was supposed to cover both development and the production of 132 airframes, averaging $167 million each. The new reality was vastly different. The $42 billion development bill was now spread across only 21 aircraft. When you add the actual production costs of those remaining units, the total program expenditure reached $44 billion. When you divide that total by 21 aircraft, the true cost stands at $2.1 billion per bomber. This represents the mathematics of broken economies of scale. By cutting production by 84%, every single airframe had to absorb a massive disproportionate share of the initial research burden. For context, a modern F-35 fighter costs roughly $100 million. The upcoming B-21 Raider is projected at $600 million. At over $2 billion, a single Spirit costs more than 3 times its modern replacement. The result is a financial paradox. The most expensive military aircraft ever constructed, produced in the smallest viable quantity, serving a strategic reality that no longer required it. Today, America's most expensive military asset is also its most fragile. Between 1997 and 2000, exactly 21 aircraft were delivered to the Air Force. This included the initial production run and the conversion of one prototype into an active combat configuration. However, the fleet has not remained intact. In 2008, one aircraft was lost in a crash during takeoff in Guam. Then, in December 2022, another bomber suffered a severe landing incident. The structural damage was so extensive that the Air Force officially determined repairs were unviable. That single incident permanently reduced the active inventory from 20 down to 19 operational aircraft. Currently, the entire heavy stealth bomber capability of the United States rests on exactly 19 airframes. Military planners originally requested 132 units because standard combat doctrine assumes attrition. Sustained combat operations inevitably result in aircraft being damaged, lost, or grounded for extended overhauls. A healthy fleet requires redundancy to absorb these losses without losing mission capability. With an inventory of 19, that redundancy does not exist. There is no strategic reserve. If a single airframe is grounded, the Air Force loses over 5% of its total global stealth bombing capacity overnight. The previous 2021 landing incident cost $23.7 million to repair and took 4 years to complete. You cannot reinforce this squadron. You cannot rapidly manufacture replacements. It is a highly specialized, deeply precarious strategic asset that teeters on the edge of operational unsustainability. The true burden of this platform does not end with its multi-billion-dollar procurement price. Operating this aircraft costs approximately $130,000 per flight hour. That metric covers crew, fuel, and direct overhead. It does not account for deep maintenance. A standard 30-hour global strike mission costs nearly $4 million in direct operating expenses alone before a single weapon is dropped. The primary culprit is the exterior. The specialized radar-absorbent material is incredibly sensitive to temperature, moisture, and friction. Every single aircraft requires its own dedicated, strictly climate-controlled hangar to prevent the stealth coating from degrading. After every flight, maintenance crews must spend dozens of hours meticulously repairing micro-abrasions and restoring the surface continuity, because even a minor scratch can compromise the aircraft's radar cross-section. While conventional heavy bombers like the B-52 are projected to serve for a century due to their mechanical simplicity, this stealth platform is strictly bound by the fragility of its composite materials. Because of the extreme operating costs and maintenance demands, the aircraft is carefully preserved in climate-controlled storage between rare sorties, rather than flying daily combat patrols. This is the ultimate paradox of first-generation stealth. The very technology that makes the aircraft virtually untouchable in the air makes it almost impossibly burdensome to maintain on the ground. The B-2 Spirit proves that brilliant engineering and brilliant strategy are not the same thing. You can build the most advanced stealth bomber on Earth, but if you build it for a mission that disappears mid-production, you create a masterpiece of irrelevance. That is the lesson the Pentagon learned at $2 billion a copy.